Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Shall we wait for 2 minutes or shall we start?
Prabhuji, we can start with prayers actually.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, we will just sing the Vaishnava song and then we will start.
I have made you the co-host, Prabhuji.
Yes, bro. Thank you. If possible, you can repeat. Oh, he Vaishnava Thakura, Toyara Sagara, Nidase Karuna Kori. Oh, he Vaishnava Nidase Riya Pada Chaya Todo He Amaya Tomara Charana Dhori. Riya Pada Chaya
Sodoe Amaya Tomara
Jaya Vegadom Jaya Dosha Shodhi Jaya Guna Dehu Pase Jaya Vegadom Jaya Dosha Shodhi Jaya Guna
Deho Dase
Jaya Tata Sangha Deho He Amare Boseti Sangera Ashe
Jaya Satsanga Devo Amare Bosechi Sangera Ase
Ekati Amara Ahipaya Bala Harinama Sankirtana Ekati Amara
Nahi Paya Bala Harinama Sankirtane
Tumi Kripa Kori Shraddha Bindu Diya Deho Krishna Nama Dhani
Tumi Kripa Kori
Shraddha Bindu Diya Deho
Krishna
Krishna se to नदी के पारो तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे
Krishna
से तुम्हारा
कृष्णा दीपे पारो
Tomara
तोमार सकतिया छे
हामी तो कंगाला कृष्णा कृष्णा बोली गाई तब पाछे पाछे
Ami
हामी
तो
तो कंगाला कृष्ण
कृष्णा
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 बोली
बोली
Dai
गाई तो
पाछे
Tomara
पाछे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्णा
Krishna, Hare
हरे हरे हरे
Hare
राम
Rama, Hare
Ram
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
यस
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so yesterday, based on your suggestion, I did a poll for the way we want to take it this. So
okay
everybody, 100% vote was in the favor of purport by purport.
okay yes, no problem. So
Yeah,
we go by line almost.
sure, sure. And Prabhuji, just
Yes.
excuse me, I'll need 15-20 minutes to reach because I was at temple actually. I'm just going my home. So I'll just keep my camera off for 15-20 minutes and then I'll open it. I'm just driving to home.
Sorry, 1 minute. I am unable to hear because here lot of sounds are coming from kitchen. Being Sunday, there is a lot
Okay.
of noise, lot of back.
Is it better?
Yeah, please. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'll just keep my camera off for 15 minutes. I just will reach home actually. I'm just leaving temple.
Okay,
I'm going
okay, sure,
home. So I'll
sure,
keep my camera off, but I'm on the class.
no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll be continuing our study from Nectar of Instruction. I will share the document. Now we were discussing. Okay, once we complete the introduction, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. In case if you have difficulty, please let me know. So we started with introduction about the book, about the author, the preface, and the overview we are supposed to complete yesterday, but we did not complete the overview. So just last part of the introduction we will just see, and we will see the overview of the book, and then we will recite 4 verses. We will recite 4 verses till we complete the 4 verses, and then we will take up next 4 verses. Of course, you might be already learned the slokas and memorized also, but it is always good to keep on reciting. Okay, so we are in introduction. We saw about the book and about the author, especially the preface, profound preface by Srila Prabhupada, giving the essence of the book. in the sense that we need to, the first duty, the first spiritual rules and regulations, following the spiritual rules and regulations in all spiritual affairs. That is the first duty of the sadhaka. By following that, we come to the mode of goodness. We will also discuss today how it is a step to the Bhakti platform, controlling mind and senses. So profound statements of Prabhupada, advancement of the Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. We have seen, and then we have seen how what it means, it's about living the rules and regulations that makes one go strong. This
Prabhuji,
last part
little
of
bit
the
breaking
purport,
your voice in between, Prabhuji. So again, I think network issue.
okay. Maybe I'll keep the other net also. That gets answered. बाहर पूछिए ना.
Prabhuji, you may switch off your video. I think that will solve the problem.
Yeah, maybe I think we have to do that. Or I'll just change the net and then we'll see if it is. Yeah, I changed the net. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is it okay or still breaking?
Okay, Prabhuji, now I think it is good.
It's okay. It seems okay. Or...
Yes, Prabhu, perfect. Okay, no issues, no issues.
Okay. So yeah, we are seeing the last part where we are trying to understand the goal of the book, where we are and where we are heading to. Bodhas to Goswami. So serving the senses or serving Krishna. That's the main tussle. We are caught up with serving the senses in material life, but we are being given the opportunity and the fortune that to serve Krishna, and we are being educated, inspired that we are actually meant to serve Krishna. So we cannot serve two masters at any time. We cannot serve both Maya and Krishna. So only one master we can serve. So that's the main topic of the main point of the book, that we are trying to transform ourselves from serving the senses to serving Krishna. It is the main point. So here in yesterday we have seen that how controlling the senses becomes conquering, in the sense that by focusing on Krishna. So that will be the main theme of the book as well, especially first few verses. That definitely it focuses on trying to control the senses, but the solution always remains that it's Krishna consciousness in various ways. So Matparaha, Asit Matparaha will always remain the solution, major part of the solution. So the controlling the senses may be compared to cutting the plants on top, weeds. But conquering means it's uprooting from the roots itself, as I mentioned here. So we conquer the senses by all this. So that's what I mentioned just here, that we need to focus on Krishna, develop Paraha, attraction and attachment to Krishna. But one may say that I cannot keep my focus. It's very difficult in the conditioned stage to love Krishna directly, or developing a attraction towards Krishna may become difficult. So what to do? So Bhagavatam explains that at least we need to develop a attraction and devotion, attachment to a devotee of Krishna. So by that, we definitely control it, and also indirectly and in the way, we definitely develop love towards Krishna. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadat. So that's the theme mentioned in this verse also. Rajastamascha sattvena sattam kusumena cha. Etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho anjasa jayet. So this beautiful verse by Nardamuni says that he mentions many obstacles in the path of devotion. Just like all these urges. There also it comes. The 7th canto, I think it is 15th chapter. I didn't write the verse number, I think here, but it comes around 15th or 12th chapter, 15th, I think. There different same problems kind of like dambam, madhupashaya, how to conquer kama, how to conquer damba. All these solutions are being given. And then at last he says, by different solutions are given, the 7th canto. And then last, this solution is given that these are all produced by different modes, especially Rajas and Tamas. So these two modes, Rajas and Tamas, and this will also be the summary of our controlling the senses and mind, because they are arising from the modes, because we are influenced by the modes, because modes are prominent, dominating. So this Rajas and Tamas. So how to control the Rajas and Tamas? Rajas, Tamascha, Satvena. By Sattva we need to control. So for that we need to practice Tapasya. Tapasya brings us to mode of goodness, as we have seen in the introduction. Mode of goodness by following, controlling the senses and mind brings us to Sattva. Satvena, by Sattva we need to control Rajas and Tamas. Sattvam cha upashamena cha. Even mode of goodness also we need to cross beyond, because mode of goodness is not stable in this material world. You might have studied this topic of modes in the Bhagavad Gita. The modes in themselves, they keep on fighting and dominating each other. And the mode of goodness is also tinged by mode of passion and ignorance. Though it's dominant in many things, many people, many places, or in mode of goodness, but still there is contamination will be there in the material world. So that also need to overcome, and we come to the pure sattva guna, shuddha sattva. So that is the real conquering of the mode of modes, because the mode of goodness itself doesn't sustain for long, especially in the material world. So that also we need to cross beyond and come to mode of shuddha sattva, pure goodness, the platform of liberation. How it can happen? Etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho hi anjasa jayet. One should conquer by guru bhaktya, by attachment and love towards guru. These things can be conquered by anjasa, easily conquered. Jayet. So purushaha hi anjasa jayet. They can easily conquer. So that's what is mentioned here. Can someone read the translation?
One must conquer the modes of passion and ignorance by developing the mode of goodness. And then one must become detached from the mode of goodness by promoting oneself to the platform of Shuddha Sattva. All this can be automatically done if one engages in the service of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature.
So this is the way to conquer modes and then come to Shuddha Sattva, thereby come near to Krishna, close to Krishna, and achieve love of God. Every day we sing also in Guru Puja that Shri Guru Charane Rati is a Uttama Gati. Uttam. Uttam means beyond Tama. Uttama. Udgatatama. Above the mode of ignorance. So Shri Guru Charane Rati is a Uttama Gati. The only way to come out is the Shri Guru Charane Rati. So developing an attachment towards the lotus feet of spiritual master by following his instructions. So that's really the main essence of our topic. That though definitely Matparaha may be difficult in this condition stage, but still by developing attachment to Guru, his instructions, we can easily cross over. Just like Prabhupada not only conquered his senses and mind, but conquered the whole world just by being attached to his spiritual master's instructions. So like that. So this is a beautiful verse. This also gives the summary of what we are. The 4 verses is talking. It's a beautiful verse. How is Rupa Goswami himself composed this beautiful verse? He's saying here that the theme of the verse is that, my dear Lord, I am trying to serve all these senses. They are like masters who are dictating me from so many lifetimes, but I want to serve you now. So he's expressing his eagerness to be engaged, at the same time inability to not leave, unable to leave the modes or the senses. In fact, rather the senses are not leaving me. That's what he mentions. They are not leaving me. They are not giving me any peace and satisfaction. So, but still, I want to give them up. That's what he's expressing. So the same theme that we want to give up the service to senses and mind and want to engage in the service of the Lord. Let's recite this one. Kamadinam katina katitha palita durnideshas tesham jata mayi na karuna na trapa no pashanti utshray jaitan atha yadupate sampratam labdha buddhi Tvamayatah sharanam abhayam ma niyumshu atmadasye. Please read.
O my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. O my Lord, O head of Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been opened, and now I am giving.
Yeah. Okay.
And now I am giving up them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires. And now I come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me.
Yeah. So such a beautiful verse. He is depicting a conditioned soul. Prabhu Goswami, knowing the heart of a conditioned soul, like all of us. He is expressing the bit in a beautiful prayer that, my dear Lord, I served the senses and mind, and they are not satisfied with me, and I am also not been ashamed to serve them life after life. Nor have I even desired to give them up. So I never desired to give them up, but still recently, by the mercy of all the Vaishnavas and the mercy of Prabhupada, I am engaging in the service of the Lord. So now I refuse to obey. See, he's saying here, now I refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires. So he is endeavoring, he is determined to, though the desires are coming, they are sprouting in the heart of conditioned soul, not in him, because they are pure devotees. They don't have any kind of these urges or these contaminations. So now I refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and I come to you, surrendered myself at your fearless lotus feet. Abhayam Swamayataha Sharanam Abhayam Mam Niyam Shvatmatasya. Please engage me in your service. So there's a beautiful verse composed by Rupa Goswami capturing the essence of the Anvaya book, which comes in Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter. So here also beautiful Vaishnava song says about a famous song of Kajahure Mana, Sri Nanda Nandana, Abhay Charana Aravindare. That song it comes. Vifale se vino kripana durjana chapala sukala bala gire. So kripana durjana, I am serving all these wicked rascals. So that Vaishnava poet Govindas is saying that I served all these senses, but still they are not giving me satisfaction. I want to give them up. That is the main point that we are endeavoring and striving to give them up, serving to my company. We are serving my company, and we are trying to join Krishna's company.
Breaking, Prabhuji, again.
Voice is breaking.
I think I'll pause. I'll stop the video. I think Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
No improvement, Prabhu. Same. Still it is breaking.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Now it is
Krishna,
okay. Now it is
Krishna.
perfect.
Okay. Yeah, we are discussing that we are trying to, just like a person serves in a company and wants to join another company for a higher salary or higher comforts or whatever, higher position. So he has to leave the first company and then start serving the second company. In that way, but we are trying to serve, we are also trying to give up the Maya's company and join Krishna's company. But one time Radhesham Prabhu is mentioning that, but though we changed the company, but we may be secretly serving the second company by sending the secrets of one company to another. So in that way we should not be. That's what he's giving kind of a caution, that secretly we should not engage in any kind of sense gratification. So then it will be, the whole thing will be spoiled. So we should be careful. So that is the main point of here, that we are trying to become from Godas to Goswami. By steadily practicing, we will one day, by the mercy of all the Vaishnavas and Acharyas, we will definitely come to that stage. So that's the main essence of the book, and prefaced by His Great Prabhupada. Now we will see the overview of the book. So you know the verses, around 11 verses are there in this book, and these are two categorizations are mentioned by Acharyas and devotees. The first 7 verses are generally understood as Vaidhi Bhakti. You will understand the terminology when you read the NOD, Nectar of Devotion. What is Vaidhi Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti? Definitely you might have heard. You have some understanding. But this is not the topic of NOI. That's why I am not going in deep defining them. But it's a general categorization. Categorization of the verses, the book given here, verses given here. So the Vaidhi Bhakti means, basically Vaidhi Bhakti means the motivation comes from the scriptures or the instructions of spiritual master. Their motivation and source of strength to practice spiritual life comes from. Raganuga Bhakti means the main motivation comes from the attachment to Krishna. We are completely attached. That doesn't mean that we have given up the attachment to scriptures and the Guru or spiritual master. It is there, but still Raganuga Bhakti mainly means the motivation is the driving force is the attachment to Krishna, attachment to different forms of Krishna, like that. So that's the main understanding of Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. So that's how the verses go from 1 to 7. Like Vaidhi Bhakti describing controlling mind and senses, how to control mind and senses. If not, what will happen? What are the favorable things? What are the unfavorable things in the second and third verses? Of course, other way. Second verse talks about unfavorable, and third verse talks about favorable verses, favorable things that are strengthening our bhakti. That is in general. That is how should I deal with myself. Mainly three verses. It's practical in practical way that how should I deal with myself. Many other themes are also mentioned, but I am just mentioning overview. And 4 to 6, they are mainly about how should I deal with others, association. So first 3 verses about Shraddha, how to building Shraddha, and then the next verse talks about Sadhu Sangha, association, whom to associate, how to respect them, how many types of devotees are there, what should be done in the association. So these 3 verses talk about association. So that's Sadhu Sangha. And then these are the 9 stages of devotional service. As yesterday I explained, you might have heard also Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha. Then the 7th verse majorly covers all these 4 stages. Bhajana Kriya, what it means by our bhajan, chanting, hearing, reading. Why we are unable to taste, what is the main problem, why we are unable to do bhajan, how to do it, and how to be fixed up in sadhana, and how to attain ruchi. So these are all talked in 7th verse. And then from there it continues. Once we attain steady stage and little taste in the practicing devotional service, and how to further progress. It's spoken by Rupa Goswami in terms of explaining how one should stay in Vraja, and how one should follow in the footsteps of Vrajavasis, and how one should keep on contemplating and thinking and serving Krishna's, doing Krishna service and remembering Krishna's pastimes. So that's how the remembrance of Lord has to continue at higher stages in Raganuga Bhakti. That's how the 8th and 9 to 11 verses more it goes into deeper levels of what is the topmost place in the whole creation itself. Not to speak of material world, whole creation only. What is the best place? So of course he mentions Vrindavan, Govardhan, then Radhakund is the topmost place, and because which is very dear to Radharani. So one should reside at Radhakund and should do bhajan at Radhakund. And then last verse glorifies how one should one should do bhajan and stay at Radhakund by taking bath in the Radhakund. That's how the higher levels of bhakti is explained. And definitely Prabhupada gives a very wonderful purport to understand what exactly it means to stay in Vrindavan, stay at Radhakund taking baths. Who can do that? Who should not do that? These are all very subtleties of bhakti, and we need to understand. We will understand in due course. But because these are all very high subjects, Prabhupada also wrote short commentaries only on these topics. But majorly on these 7 verses we are focusing on. And these are a little bit more higher topics, and Prabhupada purpose also short. We will definitely go through, but there may not be much discussion. Not too many, because I am not on that level to discuss about Radhakund and Radharani's special pastimes. But definitely it's a higher stage. As I discussed, example of biology and botany or medical PhD books, though we can read in the language, English language, but we may not be able to grasp subject matter. So that's how the book is progressing from starting stages to the topmost levels at different levels. So this is explained in a beautiful analogy as a Bhaktilata beach by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and later developed by Rupa Goswami. He gives the example also, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Srila Vishwanath Thakur wrote a a short book on this 2 verses of 9 stages of devotional service. Shraddha, Ato Shraddha Dada Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anradhani Vritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Prem, how they grow. He wrote a short book. Based on book, this picture was drawn by some devotees. So this is what is the main our whole bhakti, how it starts, how it grows, what things comes ahead, how it should grow, how it should proceed ahead, how we come to the topmost stage of love of God, what we hear every day in the morning. After 10 offenses, we keep on saying that to achieve the ultimate success, Krishna Prem. Every day we recite after 6 Shastri. So how to achieve that Krishna Prem? It's technically mentioned by Vishwanath Thakur in his book, short book Madhuri Kadambari. That was here also the same themes are going. That's what my main point is that the verses are also growing gradually from Shraddha to Prema. I just wanted to show you so that you have some understanding of what we are going through. In NOD, you will read all this, mostly about this one, different stages of bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti, Raganga Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, and Prem Bhakti. You will be able to go deeper in Nectar of Devotion. I'm just giving a glimpse here. So the seed of bhakti is given to a disciple by a spiritual master. The desire to love and serve Krishna that is being given, and the methods, rules and regulations. Prabhupada defines the bija means they are all these methods, rules and regulations. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it defines what is seed of bhakti. The spiritual master gives the methods, the rules and regulations, just like we are reading the Nectar of Devotion. These are rules and regulations and methods to cultivate the more and more, develop the desire to serve Krishna than to serve the material senses. So that seed gradually grows by watering, Shravanam and Kirtanam. Then Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha will come. Sadhu Sangha will keep on happening. If you observe, the center portion is the stem is there is inside Sadhu Sangha is written always the stem. There you see Sadhu Sangha is always there from the bottommost limb to the topmost limb. The Sadhu Sangha keeps on continuing. That is the backbone of bhakti. At no point Sadhu Sangha is given up, should be given up. So we should not at all think that we are so advanced that I don't need any kind of guidance at one point of bhakti. So the Sadhu Sangha is the backbone of bhakti. So that's why we always emphasize on satsang, sadhu sang, hearing from spiritual master, hearing from Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, especially. So that's how it continues. Sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, and anardhani vritti, we keep on cleaning. Nashta prayeshu, abhadreshu, all dirty things will keep on happening. Then we'll come to stage of nishta. Then stage of ruchi, we have great taste in bhakti process. The taste for all mundane things reduces, and then we develop more and more attachment to Guru and Krishna, especially to Krishna, Asakti, and then higher levels of Bhava and Prema. We start developing our inner moods and inner attachment to Krishna in our original position. So that's the main point of this topic. I mean, the whole book, it's giving us the whole direction. So that's what I just wanted to show and give you a glimpse what we are heading to. Okay, I will definitely share all these things. I will send documents. It will be useful for you also. So this is the main blueprint of what we are in Bhakti whole itself. Not only this book, whole Bhakti process. Whenever we have some doubts, whenever we have some confusion, when we are going some difficulties, we can refer to these things and try to again come on track, because It happens in many times when you are practicing spiritual life. Difficulties will come, may come, definitely will come. But how to go ahead is the main aspect. By the mercy of Vaishnavas, we go ahead with the guidance of the Vaishnavas. Okay, we go to first verse now. I recite the first verse. Vajo vegam and sakrodha vegam. I just want to check if you have any query on this till now. Anyone has any query or want to ask or share something? You can. Okay. Vajo vegam and sakrodha vegam. Jivva vegam ataropasta vegam. Etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira. Sarvam apimam prudvim sashishyat. Please read the translation. Someone.
A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world.
Yeah. So the first verse starts with how to control, tolerate the urges. Vegam. So it's a beautiful verse composed Vegam. Oh, Vacho Vegam. They're all Vegas are mentioned here. We will see what the terminology Vegam means. Vacho Vegam and Saprota Vegam. So all these urges are there. So a sober person who can tolerate. The verse is defining a personality who can tolerate all these urges to speak, mind's demands, actions of anger, and other things, or is qualified to make his disciples all over the world. We may be a bit curious that the first verse is saying about he can make disciples all over the world. That means is a verse to recipe to becoming a spiritual master, how to become a guru. It appears like that, and it is the verse is saying that on that by controlling the six and all these urges, who can control or who tolerates these urges has the qualification to make disciples all over the world. That's the verse is saying. We will see different aspects of this verse. So, first of all, let us see that if bhakti means chanting, dancing, shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam, 9 limbs of devotional service. There are 9 limbs of devotional service and there are 9 stages of devotional service. Please don't get confused. 9 limbs are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam, Prahlad Maharaj famous prayer. And the 9 stages are that's what we discussed, Shraddha to Prema. So by practicing 9 limbs of devotional service, Prabhupada mentions any limb, 1 limb, 2 limbs, 3 limbs, 9 limbs we also can be practiced by anyone or combination of anyone. But the main goal is to go from Shraddha to Prema by practicing all these 9 limbs of devotional service. So when we say bhakti means these 9 limbs, then why all these regulations? Maybe by next time we can have a Bhakti Rasamrita Subodhini. I don't know how many you may not. How many have? Can you raise hand? You have Subodhini, Bhakti Rasamrita Subodhini with you? I think may not be. Okay, whenever next week when you come to temple, you can have in Jivadaya. We have a Bhakti Rasamrita Subodhini English. So that will be a good guide while we are reading some pictures or some tables are nicely given. So we can go through those tables also. So there here he gave in that book also Subodhini that different acharyas summary or whatever they emphasized on a particular point. He also included that Subodhini. So there Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that definitely bhakti means chanting Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. I agree. But these regulations act like a CD, like steps towards the palace of temple of the Lord. So when you want to go to the palace, you have to climb the stairs. So these rules and regulations and methods are compared to like steps by Bhakti Thakur. So they help us, they aid us, they are helping us to go towards the highest, the palace, into the palace. So this is also he mentioned in terms of Sharanagati, principles of 6 limbs of devotional service. I don't know whether if you might have read Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter 66th verse, famous verse, purport. Prabhupada mentioned there about 6 limbs of Sharanagati, accepting favorable things. You might have heard also, accepting favorable, rejecting the unfavorable. Anyone remembers other 4 things? Have you heard before? Anyone want to share? 6 limbs of Sharanagati. Okay. So yeah, these are also quite often they come. You can remember the bhakti, the process of bhakti or the surrender or Sharanagati. We measure, that testify how much we are surrendered. We can see, test, or measure ourselves in these 6 limbs. What is 6 limbs? The 6 limbs are accepting the favorable, rejecting the unfavorable, anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam, and rakshasyati iti visvaso. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will maintain me. These 2 are other 2 things. Krishna is my only protector. Krishna is my only maintainer also. And then last 2 limbs are Atma Samarpan, complete dedication to Krishna, and then humility, Karpanya. These are the other 2 last 2. So these 6 are considered limbs of Sharanagati. 6 limbs of Sharanagati. So our progress can be seen in the 6 limbs. So he mentions that the second principle of rejecting the unfavorable is coming in this verse and the next verse also. First verse and second verse mentions rejecting the unfavorable for bhakti. So third verse talks about accepting the favorable things for bhakti. In this way they are connected. So by doing this, we are actually surrendering to Krishna more and more. In that way we are surrendering more and more. We are improving our Sharanagati to Krishna. So by accepting which are favorable, by rejecting which are unfavorable. So that is the point that though it's not directly the limbs of bhakti, the rules and regulations are controlling the mind and senses, but still they are essential to practice, to go ahead in our path of bhakti. And the second point, here the verse is not saying that absence of the urges is called a Goswami, or the one who can make disciples all over the world. The verse is not saying that only one who has no urges at all, only that person is qualified to make disciples. No, the verse is not saying that. The verse is saying that urges are present, but one who tolerates those urges. So that person is also qualified to make disciples all over the world. Such a encouraging and hope-giving statement, especially for us. It's not saying that only when you don't have urges, then only you will be a called devotee, or only Krishna will accept me. No, Krishna will accept, though there are urges and desires, material nature, because staying in the material world itself is a place of contaminated place. Definitely there will be some contamination. But still, when we are striving ourselves to show Krishna that I am Dhrida Vrata, I want to love you and serve you, then Krishna will definitely accept our service and devotion. So the urges are present, but one who tolerates is qualified for bhakti. He is qualified to make disciples. Of course, bhakti also. And he can make disciples. So how to tolerate? So that we will come to more in details also in the upcoming discussion. But here we are discussing that tolerance. The verse and translation we are trying to see what exactly the verse is saying. That verse is not saying that the one who have no urges he is called dhira or one who is qualified to make disciples. No, though there are urges, but one who tolerates. So what is tolerance? Prabhupada makes the beautiful statement in his Krishna book, famous statement. The greatness of a person, one's greatness has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate the provoking situations. I don't know whether you came across in Krishna book, he writes this famous statement. So one's greatness has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. So that's how one should be estimated as a great personality, one who has the ability to tolerate the provoking situations, whatever the provocations may be. So if he can tolerate, then he is called a great person. That great personality can be qualified to make disciples all over the world. So how to tolerate? It becomes quite difficult to tolerate all these urges, all these all big statements. It's quite difficult to though I may be speaking also. When it comes to practice, then it will be very difficult to practice on a day-to-day level. But how to do that? So here is I came across a beautiful story. And by that we can understand how to continue ahead in our fight against with the war with senses and material world. So there was a mother and child, and it was a very poor family, and the child doesn't have a father. Mother is very much working, just like Narada Muni and his mother. Mother was maid servant in different houses. Mother used to work in different houses and take care of the child Narada. So similarly here also this child's mother was working in different families for the day-to-day sustenance. And one time it happened that the child got some disease. So the child got a disease, and mother went to government hospital, and tried to find out what is the cure and what happened to this child. And she comes to know this is a very serious disease, very fatal disease for the child, and it has to be given much attention, like a TB, etc. So then mother is already very much worried about the child, and child is now growing. It's just like 5, 6 years, 7 years old, and child doesn't understand much about the seriousness of the disease, or how mother is striving hard to cure the disease. But doing the motherly affection and the love, so mother started working hard day and night. She was doing so many hard works, extending hours in the night also to accrue money, to accumulate money for the child, so that she is cured for the operation, for the treatment. So then the child, as he trying to understand over the months, she was trying to observe that mother is working hard day and night, apart from the normal hours. Previously, she used to work for less hours, but she is working hard. And she is observing that, child is observing. And then but he is able to sense that she is trying to make money so that she can buy the medicine and give me the medicine. So child is trying to grasp the picture. So till the time the child was very much naughty and trying to take the medicine, crying and not taking properly the medicine. But the more the child sensing and grasping the situation, seeing the mother's hard endeavors day in and day out, so the child started taking the medicine just by seeing the endeavors and uh, the hard endeavors of mother, the troubles and the all the austerity and penance that mother is taking just to buy the medicine to cure the disease. The child is taking. Child is not fully grasping the okay, this medicine is going to work me and it will cure my disease and I'll be happy and healthy. No, child is unable to understand at that point. But the child's main driving force was that our mother is working so hard just for me. That is driving the child to take the medicine, though it's very bitter medicine, very unable to take it and unable to continue the regularity of the medicine. But still, the child is continuing ahead and taking the medicine. So the story also gives a glimpse that how a disciple is like the child, and we are all caught up with the disease, material disease. Though we are unable to take the medicine, which is very bitter, of the medicine, the Enishidi Aushadi Maya Nashi Bharo Lagi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought the medicine for this material disease of Harinam. Though it's definitely it's a medicine, it's a nectar. We will read in the 7th verse. This beautiful analogy also comes in the 7th verse. That though it's a medicine, at the same time it's also a nectar. So though we are unable to understand the gravity of the medicine, but still just by seeing how all the devotees, all the acharyas, spiritual master and Prabhupada worked hard, they are working hard day and night, just trying to give the best medicine, trying to give me facilities to practice bhakti. And by their mercy only, I came in touch with Krishna. I am practicing devotional service. Though it's difficult to chant 16 rounds and difficult to follow regulative principles, but by understanding, by reading, by hearing about them, we will definitely can continue in devotional service without any much difficulty. Though right now we don't have much taste towards the process of bhakti or the great eagerness to practice bhakti. So that's how we tolerate all the bitterness of the rules and regulations just by focusing on the mercy and endeavors of acharyas and trying to understand more deeper levels. We can hear about Prabhupada's Katha, Prabhupada Leelamrit and Prabhupada stories. So the more every day we may not be every day, but at least when time comes, at least frequently, regularly, we need to hear about acharyas, especially Prabhupada and our acharyas, the spiritual master, how they are endeavoring a lot, working a lot to deliver me and even all the conditioned souls, whole material world. Okay, that's the main point. That's how it helps us to tolerate all those unfavorable situations. This is the one of the main point I wanted to mention. So because as long as body is there, arjas are present. Arjas will be there because body is there. Material body means arjas. But as one's consciousness becomes purified and surcharged with Krishna consciousness, arjas are directed in positive way. Yeah, arjas will be there, but they are directed in a positive way. Arjas will not stop for speaking, for acting. The mind's the force, they have to just directed in a positive way. We cannot be passive. Devotional service is not a passive one. Prabhupada speaks in 3rd verse, Utsahat. That devotee is not a passive one. He is Utsaha, he is enthusiastic. So the others are more positively directed. So is explained. So Bhagavad Gita, these verses explain how you might have gone through verses that though advanced devotee is aware of the senses but not affected by the senses. Visujan, Shulapan, you might have read the verses of a devotee. Though he is trying to act, maybe just read the translation. Yeah, I'll just share. We'll just read the translation. So this verse is saying that however the soul staying in the body, though he is in the body, but he is not identifying with the body. Yeah, please read translation. Someone.
A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all, because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their subject and that he is aloof from them.
Yeah, that he is aloof from them. He is identifying himself as a soul. He is realized at this position, and all the senses are acting on their own, in the sense that they are doing their own activities, just like Prahlad Maharaj also. He was not at all aware when he is eating, when he is sleeping, when he is aware in the sense that consciously he knows, but he is so absorbed that he does not read about all these things, not affected by those things. That's the main point. So at the higher stages, though we are in the body, but we are not affected by those senses, affected by those urges. Urges will be there, and urges are directed in a positive way. That's what Prabhupada mainly mentions, that in the material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in satisfaction of Krishna's senses. So in both ways, acting of senses will be there. But the Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. So that is the main point here. Bhagavad Gita. Of course, another verse, beautiful verse comes. The same theme of what we are reading is reflected in the 23rd verse. Yeah. Shaknoti haivayah shodum prakshashaira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayukta sasukhi naraha. Please read.
Before giving up this present body, one is able, before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world.
Yeah, so the body will remain and urges will remain. What he's saying here, Krishna is himself is saying that Prak Sharira Vimokshanat, till the point that we have this material body. Yeah, not only the human body, till the material body. Here, not just about human body, it's a material body. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat, till that time, these urges will be there. Kama Krododbhavam, Vegam. So what to do? Just tolerate. Shaknoti hayav shodum. Shanai Shanai Ruparame. Slowly, slowly we have to come up. Shaknoti, tolerate. By tolerating, slowly, slowly, we control, we tolerate the urges. And then that person also is happy. Sayukta Sasukhi Naraha. Just by tolerating also one becomes very happy in this world. So that's the main point of this verse also, as we are reading, that we need to tolerate, we need to, senses will be there, urges will be there, but we need to direct them, we need to control, we need to tolerate them. Tolerate by seeing the upper mercy that is coming down, how they are, just like the example story that we heard. So, that's what the main point. So awareness has to come to engagement. The aware, though the awareness in the sense that we are aware that I am not the body, I am soul. But awareness has to come to the engagement that okay, the body will be there, urges will be there, how need to direct. So the awareness that these senses are not my senses, these are Krishna's senses, and they need to be engaged in Krishna service. So that understanding, day by day, we need to cultivate, develop more and more. These are, I am Krishna's, I belong to Krishna. My body is given by Krishna, right? This is all, body is given by Krishna, it's a gift of Krishna. All the senses, all the mind. You read in the Bhagavad Gita shloka, Can you someone recollect what Krishna says about the material elements? Whose energies they are? Any works that you remember?
Bhumir apo nalo vayu.
Very good. Bhumirapo nalo vayu khamano buddhirevacha ahankara vimudatma ahankara me bhinna parvirashita me my energies. These are all Krishna's energies. These are all Krishna's what? Krishna's energies. These are meant for Krishna's service. But we are engaged so many lifetimes in our own enjoyments. But at least one life we need to engage in Krishna service. May not be whole life. One life is already we are at a middle age or crossing the middle ages. I don't know. We don't know how much is our life. I'm saying that I may be in middle age, but anytime can happen anything. So we need to, from the point of we come to know that I am Krishna's, and all things that are being given to me belongs to Krishna, and I am supposed to engage in Krishna service. Everything that I have, manas deho geho, jo kichmo, arpilituva padayananda kishore. So we need to engage in Krishna service as much as possible. All these senses and the mind, everything. So then we will be purified more and more. So that's the 1 or 2 points that I wanted to make about the verse that we have seen. How Bhakti, though it's chanting, but at the same time it's following rules and regulations is a way to enter into the palace. And the urges will be there. We need to tolerate them. We need to tolerate by seeing the mercy of the acharyas. And by tolerating, only one will be happy. Just by tolerating, one will be happy. What to speak of conquering them? Right? That's the point of the Bhagavad Gita verse. So the next point is that he is qualified to make disciples. The person who can tolerate, he qualified to make disciples all over the world. It doesn't mean that he will do disciples. He may or may not, but he is qualified. That's what the point. He may become guru and make disciples or not. That is not the point. But he has that qualification now that he can make disciples. Whether one does that not or not depends. So then why the topic of guru came here? So the whole verse is saying that one who controls the tolerates the senses can make disciples, guru. And the first verse is saying, we are saying that it's the whole starting with the neophyte stage, going to the topmost pure bhakti. In the first verse only guru verse came, saying about guru. Yeah, it's also mentioning that as a sadhaka, I have to go from a neophyte to advanced stage, Kanishta to Uttam. But I need to search for a Uttam Guru. The Guru, what is the qualification of Guru is given. Sadhaka need to select a Guru to advance in spiritual life. That's why qualifications of a Guru is given here. One cannot select a Guru just by a popular understanding in the world, just by having some kind of seeing some magics from Guru. You might have definitely heard from Prabhupada lectures many. So there are qualifications for Guru. So that are being given here. And also sadhaka has to come to this maturity. So the goal is also given, the picture is given initially that this is also my goal, that I need to control my senses. I need to tolerate the senses and mind. So the goal that I should achieve, I should come across, I should come to. That is also being spoken here. That way, the Guru word qualifications of Guru is spoken here. Qualified to make disciples all over the world. Yes. Okay, so that is the main translation verse saying. So there's a beautiful statement, encouraging statement that even if I can't stop feeling the urges, I can stop feeding the urges. There is a lot of difference here. Feeling means definitely as the body has the feelings that can be there. Feeding means we are trying to feed them more and more. Just like a person if you stay in home, if a person, if any animals which are like dogs, other things which are very harmful animals that are coming to our house, though we may become aware of them, but we should not feed them by giving some eatables. If you start feeding them, they will definitely come back. Especially dogs or any other animals. The more you start feeding any animal, that is naturally it comes to again to the homes. So similarly, urges are like that. The feelings will come, but we should not feed them. Feed them means we are indulging in them, we are trying to contemplate on them. Dhyayato vishyan pumsaha sangasteshu vajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodho vijayate. So these verses you read in Gita second chapter, that we stop at the contemplation level. Otherwise, it ends in the buddhinashat pranashyati. It will break the intelligence. Once the intelligence is broken, then there is a destruction to the soul, pranashyati. So we need to stop feeding them. Though urges will be there, we need to tolerate them. Now the purport starts that if the urges are not tolerated, then what is the issue? Not if urges are not tolerated, then what will happen? That is explained by Prabhupada elaborately in the first section, where he talks about the whole conversation between Parishit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, famous section. So if the urges are not tolerated, then what will happen? Then uncontrollable senses will be uncontrolled. Then it will transform to sin. Then indirectly also we suffer from the sin. So that's the consequences. And even Krishna also says in Gita, when Arjuna asked the question, famous question in third chapter, Atah kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichinnapi varshneya baladiva niyojita baladiva, by force. Here also the force is come. The Vega, the force, Arjuna is accepting, I don't want to do things, many things, but I am forced to do. Who is forcing me? Maybe I think we'll just look at these, maybe one verse, and we'll go through. Just I am giving the platform foundation for the purport, so that once we are clear with the translation, the main theme, then things will be clear later on. We'll just read the purport. I don't much, we may not have much explanation there in terms of purport. So basically, once theme is clear, then things are clear. So here Arjuna also mentions that 3.36, that Atakena Prayaktayam. He asked the question, I don't want to do unwanted things, but still I am forced. Who is forcing me? Who is that fellow who is forcing me? So then Krishna beautifully points out. Anyone remembers what is the main cause Krishna gives? 3.37. May not
It
be
is the
shloka.
lust. It is the
Yeah,
lust.
correct. Very good. It's a mode of passion. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Yesha Krodha Yesha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenam Ihavairinam. So Kama Yesha Krodha Yesha. See these two, Kama and Krodha Yesha. Only these two are Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha. He is giving the root cause also. The Rajoguna, the mode of passion, Samudbhavaha, from which they arise, the born, Kama and Krodha, they are arising. So that is the Mahashana and Mahapapma. This is the all devouring enemy, eternal enemy, Vairina Vidyena Mehavairinam. So this is the eternal enemy of the living entity. So this is the main point that we understand, that these are arising from Rajoguna, and especially the cause of all these sin and suffering, the mode of passions, modes, and they are causing karma and krodha. All these are just baladiva niyojita. They are engaging me, though I don't want to engage in these activities many times. So then what is the solution? The solution is given in the sense that in terms of both, of course, it's a beautiful conversation. So there goes Swami in 6th canto that in the first chapter only asks. And then so Sukadeva Goswami answering, he also is testing Parikshit Maharaj. He gives at one level of answer. Then Parikshit Maharaj was not satisfied at all. And then Sukadeva Goswami pleased with Parikshit Maharaj, who gave up, who denied that atonement is a solution for the sin. And then he presented the main solution of Krishna consciousness. So the solution is given in terms of atonement or in terms of atonement. Solution is given not to continue the cycle. Okay, I have solution. So even if urges are coming, why to bother to control them? Then I keep on feeding them. I keep on taking the solution. Right? It appears to be logical. If I have a disease, okay, I want to eat laddus. And by eating laddus, I may develop cough or cold. Okay, I have medicine citizen. Initially, in the childhood, I mean, when I remember, I used to, it's about motherly love, definitely. But innocent or ignorant motherly love. That when I get cold, mother used to give laddu also. When I say that, no, I am already cold, no, I will take a medicine, don't worry. You can take the citizen, you can take a small tablet in the evening. It will be all right. But you eat. So that's it's more motivated by love, not any kind of ill motivation. But it's generally. But here that should not be the happen. That should not be happening. Though I am trying to, I know the solution, and I keep on engaging in all kinds of sins, and I know the medicine to cure. No, that's what Parishit Maharaj question, Parishit Maharaj objection that these atonements that you are talking is a solution for these adjacent further activities in the indulgences. But how their sense control, they are like elephant bath. You might have heard that it's like elephant bath only. We cannot, I cannot accept this is as a solution. Then Sukadeva Goswami presents the Krishna consciousness. The the root disease is the enjoying mentality. That is has to be removed. That's what Prabhupada also mentions in the purport. We will read now. Please read.
Which from where from? In Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah.
In Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.9 to 10, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Sukadeva Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses?
So Sukadeva Goswami, why do the people undergo atonement? Read.
For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for his stealing, and he may actually even see another thief arrested by the police, yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing.
Yeah. So Parikshit Maharaj asked a question: why do people undergo atonement? If you are unable to control the senses, you do some atonement. The root is uncontrolled senses. You already have uncontrolled senses. Okay, you did sin, and then you are atoning, and then you are doing sin. Again, you are atoning. What is the point? That's what the question. And Prabhupada is explaining that there are 4 levels of intelligent people. The first level is that person who just by hearing understands, oh, fire is very harm. I don't want to touch fire. So that is very intelligent. Just by hearing, one abstains, one restrains himself. Another person, he hears, but he says, no, I just want to see. And he sees a person who was burned by the fire, just by in front of his eyes. That time, just by seeing also, second person, he is the person seeing not only he heard, but also saw fire burns, but still he didn't learn. Then a third person is the person who touches the fire and sees, okay, whether it burns or not. Person is the person who is the deepest, grossest fool that even after touching the fire also, he doesn't understand that it's harming me. It's very dangerous for me. So these are 4 levels of intelligence Prabhupada mentions here. And he gives example of stealing, a thief. Yeah, now you read, you'll understand.
From A onwards,
Yeah.
when an intelligent person hears from the law books and shastras or scriptures that stealing is not good, and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail.
Yeah.
If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? Thus Parikshit Maharaj inquired.
Yeah, this is the famous question. दृष्टश्रुताभ्यां यत् पापं जानन्नपि आत्मनो हितं करोति भूयो विवशः प्रायश्चित्तम् अतो कथम् कुञ्जरशौचवत्. Later on he mentions. So basically, here Prabhupada is bringing out the point. So the purport starts, it appears to be very abrupt. Why the verse is saying or tolerating that just, and then he is called a guru who can make disciples. Then immediately Prabhupada brings out atonement, Bhagavatam conversation. Why do people undergo atonement if they can't control senses? So this is the main point, that if the urges are not controlled or tolerated, then they lead to sin, which means suffering. So the solution is mentioned in this verse. Solution is brought out from Sukadeva Goswami only. So that solution is the solution for not only tolerating, but crossing over all these urges. So that's how Prabhupada brings out this topic of atonement here. So that's the main point. The question was that without sense control, what is the use of atonement? Just like if the punishment is the main thing for reformation, but is not reformed, then what is the use of punishment? Right? Punishment, definitely the purpose of jail is to reform the person. And for reforming the person, punishment be a part of reformation. But the goal of jail should not be punishment. But the goal of jail is to reform a person. The punishment can be a part of reformation. So similarly here, if a person is not reformed, then what is the use of punishment? That's the main question. So similarly here, if people are unable to control their senses, then what is the use of atonement? That's why he compares with manye kunjir sochavat, question nivartate badrat, question charati tatpunaha, prayashchittam ato katham, prayashchittam ato partham, manye kunjir sochavat. So atonement without sense control is useless. He compares to elephant's bath. Please read.
Parikshit Maharaj compared atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant may take a very nice bath in river, but as soon as it comes onto the bank, it throws dirt all over its body. What then is the value of its bathing?
So I don't know whether you have seen or not. I also didn't saw, but many devotees who saw told me also that elephant very nicely takes bath, comes out of the river or pond. Then,
but Prabhu, for this there is a scientific reason why it does like that. Because the skin is so thick and black, na, because of the heat of the sun, it cannot tolerate that. That's why it lays a lap. It is called lap. It is mud lap.
Correct.
Which protects the skin. This is not that it wants to make its body dirty again.
Surely.
It wants to protect itself from the scorching heat.
Surely, every animal has its own biological systems to do its functionalities.
Take care of its body.
Take care of bodies, like different animals changing the different shapes or colors and etc.
Correct,
But
correct.
just to take a lesson, we take lessons from nature also. That's how Parishit Maharaj is comparing. When we take a lesson from any analogy we take, it's just to learn something for us only. It's not just to show some fault in the analogy or in the animal. Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
We are not showing any kind of fault in that act of the animal, because we are not here to condemn the act of the animal, but it's comparing with us. We are trying to learn from that act of that elephant, that it does like that, just like we do. That's what is the main point.
Correct. Very
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. So any analogy also, it has its own limitations. Any analogy we take, any analogy has its own limitations, and we cannot stretch too much also. But some major point is conveyed through analogy. So that's the main here mentioning that we also try to take bath, but still again making us dirty. So that should not happen like atonement. That's the main convey. Yeah. Thank you for your wonderful insight. Yeah. So then Parishit Maharaj gave this analogy. And Prabhupada explaining here with two examples. Please read. Other devotees want to continue, or
Yeah, I'll continue,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
somebody else. Yes, Prabhu.
I'll continue, Prabhuji.
please?
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah,
Example.
you can allot for time to time, whatever.
Yeah.
Whomever
May I
wants.
read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, you can.
Sure. Example, similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 type of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense is called Namno Blad Yasya Hi Papa Buddhihi, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Yeah, here Prabhupada directly brought the devotees, in the sense that those who are practicing Hare Krishna mantra. Also, there are some people, some devotees who are trying to chant just to nullify their sinful activities, sinful results, sinful reactions, and sinful activities. Yeah.
Second, similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sins. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven the next Saturday. This kind of prayashchitta or atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Shukdev Goswami, equally intelligent as befitted the spiritual master of as befitting the spiritual master of Maharaj Parikshit, answered the king and confirmed that his statement concerning atonement was correct. A sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. Thus, real Prayaschitta atonement is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So the prayaschitta or atonement, there are many terminologies, terms that prayaschitta, especially in English also, atonement, repentance, penance. So these are all mostly synonyms. So, but the main point is that when we do some wrong activity or sinful activity, there are some remedies or counteracts being given. But all these atonements or prayaschitta, they are not attacking the root of the problem. That was the main objection by Parishit Maharaj, that they are atoning, okay. They are doing some sinful activity, and to counteract the sinful activity, they are doing some atonement. Then, but what is the point? Again, they are doing sinful activity. So here the real prayaschitta is brought out, that dormant Krishna consciousness, rooting out the problem of enjoying mentality. So that was is a real solution is mentioned. Please read.
Real atonement, traditional and Krishna conscious tapasya. Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge, and for this there is a standard process. When one follows a regulated hygienic process, he does not fall sick. A human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. Such a methodical life is described as tapasya.
Yeah, tapasya. So when one follows a regulated hygienic process, it does not fall sick. In general, there will be exceptions, but in general, the one is always following, trying to regulated life, hygiene life, exercise, diet, and taking care of the health, everything. Then it's not fall sick. Similarly, a person is meant to be trained in tapasya. Tapasya means basically, as we understand, that it's a voluntary taking of some austerity, some pain, voluntary involvement of pain for a higher cause, taking of voluntary inconveniences for a higher cause is called tapasya. Prabhupada defines somewhere tapasya as a voluntary inconvenience, taking voluntary inconveniences for the sake of advancement in spiritual life, for the sake of higher things. That is called tapasya. That's a human being meant for. Human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles. That's Prabhupada's main point, that we are meant for tapasya, and we are meant for controlling our mind and senses, not the animals. So that is the main tapasya. Tapasya is the main point. So that different levels of tapasya are traditional and Krishna conscious way. That Prabhupada will mention now. Tapasya. Continue. Hare Krishna.
One can, yeah, Mataji, can you read?
Oh, I can read, yeah. One can be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge or Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya, by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions in charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean and practicing yogasanas. However,
Yeah. Continue.
However, if one is fortunate enough to get the association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process simply by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness, refraining from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, and by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. This easy process is being recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami, Tapaswa at 3 levels, Bhagavad Gita
Yeah.
17.14 to 16.
Yeah. So these brackets generally is my comment. So you may not need, you need not read.
Okay,
Anywhere,
Yes,
anywhere the top headings also I generally give title. Whether you read it or not, no problem. But main purport we keep on reading. So here Prabhupada is giving kind of a initial introduction to the topic itself again. Solution, he is giving a part of solution. So the real atonement is either traditional or Krishna conscious way. Traditionally, in the sense that they practice tapasya, brahmacharya, controlling mind and senses by giving up in one's position, charity, truthful, all these practices. So this mode of goodness activities. So these are all practice so that they come to the mode of goodness, what we are striving for, where we don't try to commit sinful activities, thereby suffer. So by that also they gradually elevate to the stage of goodness. But Prabhupada is saying, however, if one is fortunate enough to get the association of pure devotees, we immediately take up the Krishna consciousness, which is not only just bringing to the goodness level, but it surpasses the goodness level also. That's the one stroke method Prabhupada many times mentions. So sonar ki ek lohar ki. And they say in Hindi saying is sonar ki ek lohar ki, means we have to the sonar, the people who who does the gold work. They have to keep on tick, 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 tick. They have to keep 100 times. They have to make it, keep on hitting the wire, gold wire. But a lohar ki, ek lohar ki matlab, make a big iron hammer, hit it once, that's it. So that's a famous saying. So not ek lohar ki. So that's why Prabhupada is mentioning here that the models of goodness practicing all these activities will be achieved within one stroke method of Krishna consciousness, just by coming in touch with pure devotee. So by coming in touch with them, we start practicing bhakti, which will uproot the root itself, uproot the disease itself from the system itself. Not only cures the symptoms, but it uproots the disease itself from the roots. That easy process is being recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. So here also tapasya. So here tapasya is the solution for the urges that we are speaking as a problem. And the urges that are being the vega, the baladiva niyojita, they are pushing from inside because we are caught up in the body. So for that we need to have restraints, tapasya. Just like a road is there. On a road, if vehicles are moving too fast and there is an accident zone, then they keep speed breakers. They act as restraints. So similarly, all the senses are moving too fast, and we need to have some restraints. Tapasya. The tapasya are mentioned in 3 levels. You might have went through the Gita famous 3 levels of austerity of the body, austerity of the mind, and austerity of the speech. So, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, we will come to the purport in the end of the purport that Prabhupada used the commentary of Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, Anuvritti commentary. There he mentions that all these urges he categorizes into 3 levels. Even in Subodhini also you can see, maybe once you get the book, in the first page he gave a table at how these urges, 6 urges are categorized into 3 levels. Kaya, Manasa, Vacha. Body, mind and speech. At 3 levels, these 6 urges are categorized. So for these 3 levels of urges, at 3 levels of tapasya is given in 17th chapter also. So Shariram Tapavuchyate, Devadvija Guru Pragna Pujanam, Acharya Upasanam Chaiva, Socham Madhyavam. So these are all austerities of the body. Anudvegakaram Vakyam, Satyam Priyam Hitam Chayat. That is austerities of the speech. And Manaprasada Somyatvam, Maunam Atma Vinigraha. So these are all austerities of the mind. A beautiful section. It's a beautiful section we can go through once in a while to understand what exactly means by austerities of body. Tapasya means what exactly? When we keep on hearing we need to do tapasya, we need to do austerities. Definitely we need to do, but how to do it? So whenever we come across tapasya, we need to boil down to Bhagavad Gita 17.14 to 16. We can just look into these 3 austerities that can be practiced, that should be practiced, so that we are going ahead and at these 3 different levels. By doing tapasya at these 3 levels, we will control these urges that are arising from 3 levels. So by body, mind, and speech. So the speech, the urges of the speech is direct, vacho vegam. We are coming to the vacho vegam. Maybe I think we 2-3 we will see, and maybe tomorrow, maybe next week I think we'll complete the first verse. First 3-4 verses are a little bigger. I may take a little time to go through these things. Later verses are a bit shorter. First 3-4 verses are Prabhupada also explained because they are more on practical platform and need to be given much importance and emphasis. So Vacho Vegam, Prabhupada starting here, Vacho Vegam. So Prabhupada Swami gave the fundamental solution that Krishna consciousness is the only way to control the senses, and it will uproot the disease, and which is the real solution. and there is no coming back again. Then he starts with Vacha Begam, explaining Vacha Begam. Please read.
Vacho Vegam. First, one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity, we begin to speak. If we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak about all sorts of nonsense.
Yeah,
Example, a toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak, even if all he has to say is nonsense. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites the snake. Please come here and eat. Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the toad goes on croaking. The talking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be compared to the croaking of frogs. They are always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them.
yeah. So here Prabhupada summarizes what it exactly means Vacha Vegam, or the Vega of speech, urge to speak. And then later on he gives more explanation also what it is not. So he is speaking, if we don't speak Krishna consciousness, we are forced to speak all nonsense. Yeah, Prabhupada, the example of a toad and a snake uh, in the field, especially in fields, the frogs keep on making sound, and the snakes, they may not just raise their hoods and see where are the frogs. No, just by hearing the sound in the dead of the night, they just go and swallow the frogs. So similarly, we need to control. We need to, that urge always will be there, as Prabhupada is mentioning that every one of us has the power of speech. That power of speech has to be utilized properly. That power, yeah. So and in Bhagavatam also there is a beautiful sloka there mentions, unless we speak about Krishna consciousness, then asati, it's called, tongue is called asati, means who is not chaste. Dhara durukeva suta. So Goswami is mentioning that the tongue which doesn't glorify the Supreme Lord is called asati also. So the tongue is the energy to speak, the power to speak is to glorify the Lord, and also to talk about especially subject matters related to Krishna consciousness. And definitely there will be some things we need to, because being in the material world, having material bodies, we need to have something, work with the body, work with, because you are all in outside world, trying to do needful for the maintaining the family, etc., and doing jobs. You have to speak to many people outside, and they may not be directly Krishna conscious many times. So, but we see ourselves how much we need to, how much we should not do. That we need to keep a discrimination so that it doesn't contaminate us more and more. We don't too much indulge in too much of talks about which is not at all related to, not helping at least to our jobs or the business, whatever we are doing. There should be at least not at least neutral topics can be retained for some time, because it's related to the business or job. So when boss is asking about job, I cannot say that I cannot talk all the mundane matters. I can only talk Krishna consciousness. You cannot say like that. When I was working also, and we have to deal with many people, boss, with colleagues, with this, with other family members, and we have to diligently deal. At the same time, we need to basically not allow those conversations affect our consciousness. That's the main point. Yesterday we have seen that how the consciousness gets down to the body level, and by the activities, different activities, and activities are majorly categorized kaya manasa vacha. Activities are done through these channels, and the speech is the one thing which can drag us the consciousness down. So we see that it's not unnecessarily contaminating my consciousness. So though we are conversing we are with the line of the talk with people in general, and we are not affected internally. That's even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the example of Raghunath Das Goswami comes. He wanted to run away from home, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warned, hey, you don't do market vairag, stay at home, do business, take care of family, time will come. And even others also, Shivanand Sen, they have so many, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had so many Grahastha devotees and very few renounced devotees, renounced order. So all of them were very much focused on doing Sankirtan, taking care of their families. But they were not at all trying to do any kind of Gramya Katha. This was instruction especially given to renounced order and also to many of his followers and disciples that one should not do Gramya Katha, one should not indulge with all other nonsense activities outside with people, materialistic people, because that will contaminate the consciousness. So we need to care. We need to be careful about dealing with the materialistic people. So that's what Prabhupada mentioning. The materialistic, especially Prabhupada also brings out both materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers. Mayavadi philosophers are more, they may be speaking philosophy also, but which is not glorifying Krishna, or is only simply attracting death. And materialistic men are more or less they are involved in sense enjoyment. That's how we need to understand the technology. And Prabhupada is making materialistic man is about more of a person who is indulging in all kind of sensual enjoyments. Because impersonal Mayavadi philosophers, they are more of a spiritual aspirants. They may not involve in sense enjoyment, but still their philosophy and their conversations are not at all including glorifying Krishna. That's why it is also like a blaspheming Krishna many times, Mayavadis. That's why it's also like attracting death in that sense. It also compared to nonsense. Mayavada bhasha sunile koye sarvanash. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say. So we need to be careful about all these interactions. Now, please continue. What it means Vacho Vegam, silence. He is giving a what understanding of Vacho Vegam doesn't mean a silence.
Controlling speech, however, does not mean self-imposed silence. The external process of mauna, as Mayavadi philosophers think, silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proved a failure. By contrast, the controlled speech advocated by Srila Rupa Goswami is the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging the speaking process in glorifying the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name from qualities and pastimes of Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak.
So urge to speak doesn't mean that okay you have a lot of urge to speak, so you maintain silence. Mauna Vrata, famous many times. Many people are very take vows that they won't speak their whole life or for a certain period. And that also has that influence. Prabhupada clarifies later on also in the purport that not speaking is not the goal, but speaking about Krishna is the ultimate use of the power of speech. Yeah, some benefits definitely may be there just by keeping mum. But they will also express their inner ideas, meanings, desires. If they're not speaking, they will be writing on a slate. That's what Prabhupada also mentions, I think, in one of the lecture, that people may not be speaking, but they keep on writing on the slate, on the board, what they want to say. So, because internal process keep on going. Actually, the Maunam, if you see, very striking what we were reading, what we were discussing, that tapasya of body, mind, and speech. The tapasya of speech has to be come in where it has to come in speech. Kaya manasa vacha, when we are speaking tapasya of speech, the maunam word has to come in tapasya of speech. But Krishna very strikingly puts in the mind, tapasya of mind. Tapo manasamuchyate. What is that verse? Manaprasada saumyatam maunam atma vinigraha atma samshuddhiritetat tapo manasamuchyate. Yeah, I think it's like that. So there, the maunam word is put into austerity of the mind, because that's the main point. The mind has to be silent, not just speech, as Prabhupada mentioning here. Mentioning here that the mind has to be calm, not just a speaking power. I'm just seeing the sloka, what he's saying. Manaprasad saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samsuddhirityetat tapomanasam. Maunam, the maunam word comes in austerity of the mind. So that is a very deeper understanding what Krishna is presenting in that verse. That the force of the force to speak, the urge to speak, has to be controlled in the mind itself. Mauna, mind has to be silent, not just speaking power. So that's one more understanding here that we are talking regarding Mauna. Of course, Prabhupada brings out the point here that silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves failure. So we need to keep on speaking in a positive way. So then I think it's already 4:26. Now the Prabhupada concludes here the Vacho Vegam. Then it comes to Mano Vegam, minds of speech, Vega of mind. Okay, we pause here. If you have any question or query or anything you want to share, comment, you can.
Yes, Prabhuji, related to this Vacho Vegam only. So, like after going through this purport of Prabhupada, we come to know that like we should not try to speak unnecessarily when it's not required. But as a preacher and as a Krishna Katha, we should speak only glorification of the Krishna almost all the time. We should try, but sometimes practically when we are dealing with the society, in society or at our workplaces,
Correct.
so sometimes there also many times people tell that you should be keep calm, cool. If someone is just criticizing you, even though there is nothing wrong then from your end. So in that kind of situation, actually, if someone is keeping mum and he's not speaking, he's not justifying, or he's not trying to defend himself. So the others may, third person who is looking on him between the conversation of those two people, he may think that no, he is not speaking, so he is at wrong side. So that misconceptions and those kind of things may, occurs. So just wanted to understand practically, like, how to deal this kind of situation when we have to keep silence or we have to speak up, how to take up the things.
Yeah, it's a practical question. What you mentioned is that, especially when other people are criticizing or imposing some things on us in job or business. As I mentioned that we need to see the situation and do the needful accordingly. If his person is too much imposing which are unnecessary things on me and which is bringing a bad name in the eyes of the boss, then we need to clarify with the boss or with the person directly if we can. Otherwise, we basically the principle will be that we need to see how much we are affected internally. That we need to see. That much only we can try to respond to the person or situation. Especially if we are too much going in terms of argumentation, then it may not lead to, because after some time, some years of experience with your colleagues, you will understand who is what kind of personalities you are dealing with. By that, we need to judge. That's one point that through experience, you are not dealing in office especially. We understand who is what. After at least 1 or 2 years, you understand what kind of personalities we are dealing with. And accordingly, we need to judge what to speak, what not to speak, when to speak, whom to speak. But the ultimate result should be that after coming out of the office, we should not carry those things in our mind or in our consciousness. It should not too much affect, such that we are always thinking of the situation or of the conversations or arguments that were that were happening in the office. But it is very case to case, and it depends on person to person also. That's the main point. I understand that we try to keep it. Definitely, we don't want unnecessarily argumentations in office or with people, outside people, and even with devotees also. And but if the point is coming, as you mentioned, that is on me, and they are unnecessarily criticizing or unnecessarily blaming, and that which is bringing my at least the respect or my position in the office down in the eyes of boss. If it is true, then we should immediately clarify with the boss. And if it is not true, and if it is disturbing, then we need to clarify with the person if we can, in different ways. If we cannot face directly, writing a mail or talking to a person who is close to him. So some things we need to try to jot down and try to deal. But main thing we need to maintain that things are not affecting my consciousness, which are affecting for days and days together. That should not happen, at least to us as a devotees. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to practice devotional service. That's my little understanding.
Yes, bro. Thank you. Yes, bro. Got it.
Yeah, you can try to check with some senior devotees who are in as your counselors or some other devotees. Yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Will you be able to send me the notes of your introduction only today?
Yeah, I'll make a PDF and I'll send you.
Sure,
I'll
sure.
make.
So because yeah,
This Vachavegam till Vachavegam, I'll draft it and I'll send you.
yeah. Actually, like before the verse 1 started, so that part especially because the original book's preface is very, very small. You have covered in comparatively much detail. So if we can
Yeah.
get that piece, that will help.
Yeah, surely. I will definitely send.
So if you can send me today so that I'll share.
Evening I'll send.
Sure. Thank you so much. Next class
Thank
will
you
be
so
on
much.
next Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, next Saturday is what day?
4th.
It's a 4th. Okay.
4th May.
4th April. 4th May. Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
Ekadashi 4th. Ekadashi, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we
I
are
think
meeting on 4th.
1st May is also holiday. If devotees are open for attending a class, we can have it on 1st May also.
Maybe
I'm okay with
difficult for me. I have some engagements on Wednesday.
Okay, so let's keep it on Saturday, Sunday only.
Yeah, I'll let you know if anything comes up like that.
On Saturday, right?
No, on Saturday, in the weekdays, we have holidays. We can discuss
Yeah,
later on.
I think, yeah. Let's keep it on Saturday, Sunday, Broji, because some of us may be in business
I'll
or.
be correct.
Okay, fine.
Thank you so much for all for your patient listening and enthusiastic participation. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami
Jai,
Pad ki
Gaurav
jai,
Jai,
Shri
Jai.
Upadeshamrita ki
Jai.
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 Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.